Welcome back, everybody. Here we are. I thought I would simply do a very short flight in the PMDG B777 Freighter. Here we are in Indianapolis, which is FedEx's second largest hub on the globe. And I think if we adjust the camera angle real quick, you can actually see downtown Indianapolis in the background. Yep, there it is, way over there. All right. I believe everything is good to go. I've got everything pre-flighted and set up. We're ready for the before taxi checklist, which means we're ready for engine start. The only thing we have to do is simply double check the, simply double check the fire detection system one more time. Look down here. Everybody lights up. Good. And fire test is in progress. And fire test pass, which is what you want. And now we're going to check the weather radar very quickly. Sorry, we have to turn on the weather. Then, yeah, let me go back and re-explain that. If, in case you don't know how to test it, you have to turn the weather radar on, and you know it's on by looking at the navigation display right here in front of you. Now we're going to hit test again, and not only will the navigation display show the various colors, but you'll also hear an oral warning as well.
Monitor radar display. Go around. Wind shear ahead.
As you can see, it's on both navigation displays, both mine as well as the FO's. And on the FO, since I am the pilot flying on this particular flight, the FO is the obviously the pilot monitoring. You can strain on his display, and I get the weather, but I'll turn the weather radar on once we get out to the runway per procedure. It's something about radiating people with your weather radar when you're at the gate, or in this case at the stand. Alright, we've got everybody's V-speeds are in the box, and we are ready for push. So we're going to go over to our engine page because we are going to be showing those big, beautiful G engines. So let's hop outside and check out how they do it. Hopefully they're going to push us back to a spot that makes a little bit of sense. I am using live traffic, and apparently they don't have any FedEx liveries. And when I say they, I mean Microsoft and Asobo. And yeah, they're pushing us in the wrong direction. In a way, let's look here. Let's see how they do it. It looks like they're going to push that left wing, the rake, which is that last 12 feet on each end of the wing there. Alright. That's actually doing a very good job. Wow. Impressed. Okay, is that enough space? Over there is the hangar for Eli Lilly. And there are 3 Gulfstreams. That's interesting. The dog disconnects, and yet we continue to be pushed. Alright. Anyway, we'll see what the live weather. I'm sorry, it is live weather, but what I meant to say is the live traffic Let's see how good of a job it does. Alright, parking brake. In case you're wondering, I was set to realistic brake, so I press the brake pedals, the the rudder pedals. The brakes, I push them down, and then I pull back on the parking brake lever. I release my feet. I'm sorry, I don't release my feet. I take my feet off of the pedals while I'm holding that and holding the parking brake lever, and then the parking brake is engaged. This airplane has a wonderful APU, and it allows us to start both engines at the same time. And just in case you're wondering, you do not have to manually turn off the packs, the left or the right. The aircraft automatically does that when you start an engine. So we're going to put both into start, and we're going to open the fuel for both, moving the fuel control switches from cutoff to run. And just watching the startup here. 32 degrees Celsius, so mid to upper 80s Fahrenheit, so it is definitely a warm one. Very, very warm. There's a light off. Very good. Looking good, looking good. Alright, well that's doing its thing. Let's go ahead and set the that's weird. Why that happened. Double check. Are we using flash 15? We are. And it wants us to, there is a change in the takeoff speed. That's interesting. And our trim has been changed. That is also interesting. Let's fix that right now. I don't know why the trim setting was changed. It was 4.00, now they want it to be 3.5. There we go. While we're at, while we are at it, we will accept V1, 135 V1, rotate at 137, V2, safety speed 149, make sure that's in the box. And that has also been updated. So the performance numbers for some reason are updated, and I did not know about it. They updated on their own, which is interesting. Alright. Let's strike those flight controls all the way to the left. Good. Back to the neutral position. All the way to the right. And if you're wondering how long is this flight going to be, this flight is only about 32 to 35 minutes. No more than that. The winds up in Chicago are out of the west-southwest. And the rudder left, center, good, and all the way to the right, good. All right. Back to the checklist. Alright, before taxi, anti-ice, good, recall. Alright. Nothing at recall. Nothing on the recall. Flight controls are checked, ground equipment is clear. And flaps are also set already. APU is off. We don't need it. And we only need the taxi light on. So before takeoff checklist is also complete. After takeoff checklist, we can leave it there for now. And let's head over to runway 23 left, which is the taxi time to 23 left is literally about 90 seconds. Alright, get those engines spool up just enough to get us rolling. Here we are. Now that is accurate. Those Airbuses that you see over there, those Airbus A310s, that is accurate. FedEx, they do operate quite a few. And we'll go ahead and turn on the weather radar, even though there isn't any weather en route. It's simply a procedure. Now, those GA aircraft, those should not be there whatsoever. And by looking way over at the passenger terminal in Indianapolis, I've been there a few times. The passenger building does not look, the passenger terminal building does not look like a gigantic warehouse. So, Microsoft, Sobo, you guys need to get your stuff together. That doesn't even look like doesn't even resemble a passenger terminal. That's not good. And the FedEx terminal looks like a corporate office building or a hotel. So they have some things that they need to fix, or someone needs to come out with a good third-party add-on. Okay, why we're stopped. Okay, here we go. The reason we were briefly stopped without my feet on the brakes was because there's a little bit of a glitch in Simulator 2024 where it's as if the brakes become sticky and you gotta press them real quick to release them because they set themselves. And there's an airplane straight ahead of us doing all kinds of bizarre movements above and below the concrete on the ramp. That's interesting. So they obviously have a long way to go with their light traffic. But at least we're in in my opinion, the most accurately detailed wide body available for flights in 2024. So we'll take this right here. Yep, we'll take it right here. Air Delta 1. Pardon me. We're at Delta 1. And let's go ahead and turn on the lights, strobes, and the landing lights. We're good to go. Where did that Airbus go? The Airbus that was rolling. Oh, he disappeared. Okay. Is he on TCAS? No, he's not. A phantom aircraft, I guess. Let's see here. Making sure that there aren't any phantom aircraft inbound. Let's see here. 737-800 by the looks of it. Yeah, that is really. Oh, that airplane there on the left. Spirit. Alright, they're a passenger airline. They don't belong to FedEx. They should not be parked there. Alright. That airplane porpoising out of the concrete. That is bizarre. Alright. We are ready to rock and roll. Let's stand them up. The throttles, that is. Let's get them stable. And we've got two good motors. Toga. Gear up. Alright, let's get underway. We want to climb out. I enjoy using flight level change mode. Yeah, here again, it just keeps you safe. So I set for 240 knots. Autopilot go. And we're going to go direct to mirrors, which is what they would do in the real world. You fly runway heading for a few seconds and then they clear you direct. Here we go. And LNAV is on. 240 on the speed. And we can go ahead and retract flaps to 1. And all the way up. Alright, it looks like it's going to be a nice day for flying. As you can see, we're only going to be flying up to 22,000 feet. And the way this was programmed, I utilize, probably as most of you, I utilize a sim brief, and then I simply have the EFB import the flight, which also imports the fuel and the cargo. And I got some cumulus clouds out there. And that really, that's a very, very helpful tool. As you can see, we don't have a lot of fuel on board, only 32,100 pounds, well, 32,000 now. 32,000 pounds of gas, and I believe the numbers were, let me look at our gross weight is only 518,000 pounds, so we are moving and grooving. Alright. Our takeoff checklist. Let's zoom in. So those of you with a mobile device, you can see what we're doing. Our takeoff is normal, waiting for the descent. We're above 10,000 feet. Activating VNAV. And turning off our landing lights. Landing lights are for 10,000 feet and below. This aircraft does a very, very good job at keeping the speed at 240 knots below going before going below 10,000 feet. It does a very good job. And here we go, 290 indicated, all the way up to 320, which is where we want to be, and we should begin to climb like a rocket after that. Increase the range on the navigation display. I don't like what I see. And let me show you what I don't like to see, and that is this. After the navigational fix VEEK, we have to go toward Chicago O'Hare past. We have to fly past the airport and all that, and that's just nonsense. So we're gonna fix that right here, right now, and that is gonna be like so. I'm gonna go to VEEK. After VEEK, where is VEEK here? Should be right. Oh, there it is. After Vik, we're going to go direct to Vogler, VOGLR. Vogler. There we go. Put that after Vik. And we are avoiding a lot of unnecessary time in the air. As I said, this is hopefully going to be 35 minutes of flight time or less. Alright, we're above 18,000 feet, so standard on the altimeter. And standard all the way across. Yes, it is. Look at that, we're already blasting through 19,000. Would I like to go higher than 22,000? Yes, but the flight is so short, and given the winds and our gross weight, the dispatch came up with 22,000 feet as being the most efficient, most optimum. That's the word of the day, optimum cruising altitude on up to Chicago. We should have a very good view of downtown Chicago, which is for those of you that have never flown into O'Hare at night. I've done so more times than I can remember. At night or early morning before the sun comes up, especially in the wintertime, downtown Chicago looks beautiful from the air. Hey, it should capture 22. There we go, it did. Alright, let's do a quick peek outside of the aircraft just to see how things look. And then we'll get back in because we're going to be getting ready for a descent in just a few minutes as we go through our performance numbers, get those calculated and get them in the computer. And on the flight deck, we'll be able to see Lake Michigan here very shortly. It looks like there's a little bit of lake effect cloud below us in about 80 nautical miles or so. But anyway, real quick, let's take a look at it outside. Now look down there. There is a really long runway on the ground, right at the tip of the nose. And if I'm not mistaken, that really long runway is formerly known as, I should say, former Grissom Air Force Base. Now I believe it is called Grissom Aeroplex. There is a KC-135 reserve unit that is still based there. Let's see if I'm right about that. Go to airports. Yep. Kilo Golf Uniform Sierra right there. That is Grissom. That runway, the reason why it sticks out is being so long. Way before the space shuttle, it was a base for the B-58 Hustler, the Mach 2 bomber that they made back in the late 60s. And So it has a very, very long runway. When the space shuttle was commissioned and built, uh, the primary landing, I should say recovery airport, was Edwards Air Force Base and also Cape Canaveral. And they needed a couple of emergency runways. Grissom was one of them, I believe. John F. Kennedy Airport International, aka JFK. JFK in New York City, that was one, but Grissom was backup number two. If Cape Canaveral or Edwards, if both of them were unavailable and the shuttle had to come back, Grissom was, I believe, number one on the list, and JFK was number two, something like that. Maybe it was the other way around, but Grissom, I know, is number one or number two on the backup list for as an alternate landing field. All right, let's get into the descent checklist because it's coming up like as in just a few minutes. All right, recall. And nothing on the recall, so good. Notes, I've already gone over the performance data. Auto brake, let's go into that real quick. Landing en route. Okay, we're going to be utilizing runway. Pardon me. We're going to be utilizing runway 28 center. Alright. There we are. Good. 30 auto brake, 3 reverse. All operative. Non-normals or none. Good. Good, good. Import the weather. Calculate. And there we go. We've got our VREF. Always make sure your VREF, with me it's always VREF plus 5. That is the normal thing to do. And let's go into our flight computer real quick. Are we still too close to Indianapolis to switch over to, yeah. Alright. Let's look. We need to set the altimeter for 4,000 feet. However, 260 knots is way too fast. Way, way too fast. In fact, 240 knots at Arzuko, that is way too fast as well. So we're going to say 200 knots at Arzuko. And Hazel, we need to be at, we really need to be at like 190 on the speed at Hazel. Let's make it 185. Because once you get to that phase of the flight, things really begin to happen fast. Execute that. Good. That should do the trick. Very, very well. Alright, auto brake is going to be 3. Sorry about that. Auto brake. Set to 3. Got it. Alright. Minimums, I already know by looking at the charts. We're going to be using a barometric minimum, not radio minimums. So, and it needs to be 960, so that's 960 feet above sea level. Alright. 4,000. Let's set the autopilot for 4,000 feet. I was hoping for a better view of Lake Michigan, but the clouds, because of Lake Michigan, are clouding up the issue. No pun intended. Okay, what is the range on the FO? Oh, only 10 nautical mile. That's way too short. There we go. Oh, turn on the FO's VORs. There we go. Alright, back to business. Landing data is set. VREF is set to 1. If it will allow us to go to ORD. There we go. Very good. And we are going to be flaps 30, therefore speed's going to be 145. Landing data, check that off the list. Approach briefing is completed. Altimeters, what is the altimeter in Chicago? 3009. Alright, we'll put that in the standby box. Zero, 009. Almost there. And then we can look out the window again. Okay, the approach checklist is complete. And simply waiting for the landing checklist. Like I said, very, very short flight. And we're going to be descending in just a couple minutes already. I used to fly this a little higher and a little faster in the Embraer 175. But it really boils down to one thing, and that is the entry going into Chicago. It's so busy at O'Hare, especially during a big push. For those of you that have been there, you know what I mean when I say push. A lot of airplanes coming in at around between 6:30 and 7 o'clock in the morning Central Time. And then the next big one is around 11:30, 12 o'clock noon. And then the other one is around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then the big one in the evening is between 6 and 8. So if you can get a pocket whereby it's not all that busy, you can get into the world's busiest airport, which, well, it goes back and forth. Some people say it's Atlanta, some people say Chicago O'Hare, it goes back and forth. At any rate, just for the sake of this flight, let's say it's Chicago O'Hare. And there is the lake. Beautiful Lake Michigan. Try and keep our head up here. And like I said, hopefully you'll see the very, very rapid response on this aircraft when it comes down to 10,000 feet. Instead of fighting the airplane, trying to keep it below 250 knots before you hit 10,000 feet, it automatically goes to 240 before you get under 10, which is a very, very nice feature. Let's hop outside real quick. Alright. Beautiful visibility and all that. Let's switch our altimeters back to I thought it was 3009. Let's double check that again. Yeah, that's what I had. I thought that I had it set for 3009. There we go. Everybody set for 3009. Cross-reference that with the FO screen. 3009. Yes. Alright. Alright. Looking good. More than likely, it's going to be asking us to utilize the speed brake. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But with us coming in from such a low altitude, um, and by the way, we programmed the flight computer. It has plenty of time to get to slow down before we get to 10,000 feet. All right. All right, here we go. 14. See if we can see the Illinois shoreline. Yep. How about the Michigan side of it? A little bit. A little bit. Alright. Yeah, since I have the the live traffic turned on, it'll be interesting to see what what kind of live traffic they're actually showing at O'Hare. Um, this at this time of the day, there shouldn't be a lot of it. Looks like there's somebody 2,500 feet above us, and they just disappeared, which is very, very common for a SOBO to have airplanes that show up on TCAS and then all of a sudden they just disappear. I'm just trying. The only reason I have it turned on, when I say it, I mean the live traffic feature of 2024, is because I'm coming into Chicago O'Hare and I wanted to see what it would do. And so far it's been as usual, which is why I don't use it. It just an aircraft appears and then it disappears. Um, yeah, it's just not accurate and not fun. All right, let's look at the PFD. 240 knots is the target now. So let's see if it asks us to do the speed brake. Yes or no. Let's turn on the landing lights real quick. We are good to go. Good to go. It's doing a very, very good job. A very, very good job at slowing down before going below 10,000. That is a very refreshing thing to see, because the airplanes that come with 2024, they're just simply not that good at speed. Just you can tell to do something at a specific point, like the 737 Max that comes with Sim, for example, but it'll go right through 10,000 feet, and it'll still be doing 270 knots. So it took PMDG to come out with a jet that finally handles speed properly and realistically. Alright, here comes another aircraft on TKS. And he disappeared. He disappeared. Yeah, it's I'm not gonna use live traffic ever again. It's just, but we'll see. We'll give it one more chance. Let's see what it does as we get into O'Hare. Let's just see what happens, and that'll be what we use as our measure of merit. Okay, 140 is in the box. Good progress. Let's look at our legs page. And everything looks good. Everything looks great. According to the EFB, it looks like we are going to be taking up approximately 7,500 feet of runway. And we do have 10,700 available to us, which is nice. The cargo center, if you will. I was going to say Worldport, but that's UPS that I fly for down in Louisville, where I'm based. But anyway, all right. Let's just make sure that the weather hasn't changed. In particular, the altimeter, 3.1 Celsius. Ooh, that's hot. Gee, it's hotter up here than. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 1 degree. Only 1 degree cooler up here than it is back in Indianapolis. All right. Looking good. Let's see, what we want to see is that Chicago, the skyline. Let's see if we can. That's behind the left window pillar. We'll see it here in a second. It looks like the tip of. Yeah. Okay. And we'll see it here in just a moment. And we're already picking up the localizer. So, approach mode goes on. And we are now on the localizer. And the VNAV path. Alright, we gotta adjust something here. We're going to adjust. Yeah, I think we need to intervene. Alright, that means 1,800 feet and 190 on the speed. Speed brakes are out. Now let's see if we can show you that beautiful Chicago skyline. There is the big, I was going to say Sears Tower, the Willis Tower. Oh, they still have Meigs Field up here simulated. That's funny. Unfortunately, Meigs Field no longer exists. Alright. On the 190, flaps 1, speed brakes off. Let's see if we can get this aircraft to slow down just a bit. Let's look at the Chicago skyline from the outside. There it is. Good old Chicago. Alright. Back to business. Flaps 5. Thank you. Very good. And 180 on the speed. 179, that's good enough. And since it's so very, very warm out there, flaps 15. And we're gonna call for gear down here in just a minute. Go around heading is selected. Yes, it is.
2500.
Alright, let's speed brakes. Armed. Landing gear. Down. And flaps 20 is in the box. And looking good. Yeah, the traffic going into here, that will be interesting. Alright. There you go, land 3. So, auto land. Yeah, we'll let it do the auto land. We'll see how well it, just how well it keeps the center line. Now there's aircraft at our altitude. I see it right there. And we need to go to 145 on speed here. Alright, let's see what it looks like on approach. What that aircraft is doing, I have no idea. There's not even a runway that corresponds with the heading he's on. Yeah. Oh, it's coming towards us all of a sudden. Oh, he disappeared. Okay. Here we go. Oh, there's an aircraft on our runway all of a sudden. Looking good. Alright. Reverse thrust. Whoa, they're coming at us the wrong way here. That's not good. Okay, I've got it. Maximum braking. Not good. Microsoft Sobo. Not good. The wind is out of the west. Not good. Aircraft are approaching at the right, and now all of a sudden they're landing to the east. Not good. All right. Well, this was the test for live weather and making an executive decision. We're not going to be utilizing live traffic anymore. It's just that simple. I mean, the wind is out of the west and they're landing to the east. Not good. Alright. Let's vacate the runway as fast as we can. Speed brake is automatically dialed up. Alright, let's get those flaps all the way up. As well as the APU. Get the APU turned on. Yeah, yes, the landing checklist was complete. I simply did not hit the normal button. I'm used to flying the 747-8, whereby I can move to another screen, come back, and if it's already checked off, then it automatically advances to the next checklist. And the 777, for some odd reason, it does not do that. Okay, we'll vacate right here. FedEx. Our stand is just to the left. It's actually right here. That's the United Cargo, FedEx. The office building is to our left. We'll park it right here, though. The very, very erratic traffic being generated is not fun to deal with because it'll pop up out of nowhere or it'll just disappear. All right. And yes, we will be looking at the brake temperatures here in just a second. Alright, let's swing that nose over. Looking good. Alright, well, everybody, hope you enjoyed the very, very, very short flight up here to Chicago. Make sure that the APU is up and running, taking the load. It is. Very good. Lights, strobes, taxis. Alright. Fuel switches to cut off. And turn off the transponder TKS. There we go. Alright, well, welcome to air. And again, we really hope you had a enjoyable time with us up in the air. Very short flight, but again, hopefully you enjoyed it. And hopefully you got something out of it. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them down in the comment section below. I do answer every single one of them. And thank you for watching. And we'll see you again very soon. And as always, frequency change is approved. Fly safe.